investors, show them the opportunities, different opportunities that we have. Then we move to the funding. As we know, 13% of the world marines actually trade goes to the Red Sea. And you can see the Red Sea from the north to south, all connecting the cities and villages. And 40 plus industrial cities spread along the whole country. So you can see actually, whenever you want to take your business to Saudi Arabia, in which city, you can connect to see the building actually spending. So what we did is we split that target along the year from 2020 down to or up to 2030. So we are right now in 2022. The target supposedly in 2022 is 2%. You remember 2 slides ago? It's already 2.3%. So we're doing great. We are ahead of the curve. Now, why businesses are choosing to come to Saudi Arabia? There are many factors. Let me be some. A, the privatization of the program. We are enabling all companies actually to be part of the economy of Saudi Arabia, not just the local one, also the international one, and with a 100% ownership for the majority of the sector. Localization of value chain. As we know, for the companies to invest here, they need to make sure they have the right value chain to be competitive in the market. We are localizing that for them. More than that, they need the opportunity. KtN and mega projects. What are the different KtN and mega projects? You may know some. Let's show you a glimpse of all of them without the kingdom. This is a map of the kingdom where we actually managed to split the different KtN and mega projects. Now, coming to the central, where we have the Riyaddeh gate, cultural, and it's actually really moving. And you can actually pass by to driving to see exactly all the different things that have taken place in there. The ILPZ, which is considered the first logistic zone in Saudi Arabia, been released early last week. So now we do have a free economic zone called the ILPZ. It's close to King Khalid International Airport, and of course it has its own rules and conditions. If you would like to know more about it, just visit the GACA website, as GACA is going to be responsible about it, and you'll see more information. Now, if you go to the west, we said the Red Sea as a mega project, but you can see the mega project, King Abdullah Economical City, the advancement taking place there, and the new Jeddah development. Okay? And in the south, we have the City project. Now, we can see some of these mega projects are in green. The reason why they're in green is because they are going to be future. Why Saudi? Some of the ranking indexes about Saudi Arabia, it's the second lowest debt to GDP among the G20 countries. It's the second among G20 initial competitiveness, 7th largest GDP per capita among the G20 countries, 7th largest foreign assets reserves globally, 14th among G20 countries in FDI in 2021, and the list talks about itself. So these are just glimpses of why people are choosing Saudi Arabia in numbers. Locations, a very strategic location. You can see in the map it's between 3 different continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa. More than that actually, if you look at hours travels, in 4 hours you could reach up to more than 50 fast-growing markets within the 4 hours range. But if you go to 7 hours range from that, you'll be reaching more than 80% of the global population what your business could reach. So that shows you how actually strategic is the location for the country. More than that, let's go inside the country. How well interconnected it is in logistics. So you can see actually how well interconnected actually in the map, but more in the numbers, talking about the railways, the different airports. I think we have 7 to 10 of these airports on international airports. 13% of the world marines actually trade going from the Red Sea, and you can see the Red Sea from the north to south. It's all covered there by one country here, Saudi Arabia. 10 ports that process 13 million containers per year, more than 232,000 kilometers of roads connecting the cities and villages, and 40 plus industrial cities spread along the country. So you can see actually Whenever you want to take your business in Saudi Arabia, in which city, the connectivity will help you actually spread it. When we're talking about the modern digital infrastructure, we're talking about the future. Because right now, if you compare the past to the future right now depends a lot in many digital matters. We're talking about this, where we are. So 95% of the internet usage penetration has penetrated in Saudi Arabia. 97% of Saudi Arabia is already covered with 4G. When it comes to 5G, Saudi Arabia is ranked third among highest 5G network speed, and that's globally, not just G20. We're the 7th globally out of 135 in speed tests, and we're the 3rd ranked as the smartest city in the G20, and the 30th globally. And that number is actually improving. So happening earlier than expected. So what are we doing to reach that? The plan is to plant 10 billion trees among the kingdom. So we're going to say bye to the desert, hello to green. We're going to have 40 million hectares of degraded land to be restored in Saudi. 30% total land, tree and targeted to be protected areas. 20% of Saudi Arabia land and sea to be protected by 2030, because we do have endangered animals and we do have a lot of actually endangered zones where we make sure that we protect these animals. 60 plus initiatives worth of $186 billion of investment to support for it. And by 2030, we want to make sure that 50% is the share of the renewable energy when it comes to the energy mix of the country. So you can see here, actually, we really have very extreme hard target in that, and we work extremely hard. Especially we're talking about the green. A lot of forums have been taking places. Looking forward to see how we can do it differently. For example, playing with the genes of some plants to see actually if they could actually consume less water, but it could be there. A way how can they be adapted to different. We're here for business. You want to make sure the environment is good for you. So the good thing is, since 2016, we have actually came with 600 different initiatives where we have executed 80% of those programs. And that made us World Bank's top business climate performers globally. Now, it's good to know exactly this 600 is not a fixed number. It continues as we actually keep sitting with the investors, keep watching what they're doing, see the different bottlenecks and the regulations, and actually we try to reform them, and then execute. So to give a glimpse of what have we done so far in change. These are some of the examples. So far right now, the business visa can be issued without multiple applications within 24 hours. That used to be, I believe, weeks, and some people told me a month. Now, the custom clearance used to be 2 weeks, now it's within 24 hours online, so you don't need to be there by yourself to do this. The export-import required customs used to be 9, for the export 12, and now equally each we need just 2 to clear different sector businesses. Could be 100% foreign ownership. And yet, those are that we cannot do anything about it. We're still trying to find a way to work around them to give you the 100% ownership. Walk you through step by step through all the entities, and after that, supporting you after your business. It could be either in expanding your business. It could be also if you have any issues or problems with any government entity. We do tell you, do not suffer alone. Come to us, let us know. We have resolved many of those issues. Okay? That's the website. We do also, beside the website, have Center for the Investor Services, where they can provide you with different services you need. Before you come, telling you exactly what the documents you need to do to prepare you. While you're on the licensing, walk you through step by step through all the entities. And after that, supporting you after your business. It could be either in expanding your business. It could be also if you have any issues or problems with any government entity. We do tell you, do not suffer alone. Come to us, let us know. We have resolved many of those government entities issues. Okay? So this is how serious we are when it comes to the investments. And the last thing is the connection with sector heads. My colleague Hussein is one of them. So here, when you get to the opportunities and you're interested about it, when it clicked on it, it will take you actually or send an email directly to the sector head where they will look about your interest of the opportunity, communicate with you, and explain to you more in depth about the opportunity and see how to facilitate the matter to you to let you actually invest in Saudi Arabia while you're happy. We want to make it a win-win situation for everybody. That's all. So this is pretty much what I want to show you actually in a glimpse about Saudi Arabia.
Maybe the Saudis could host some of those nations to talk about how you develop and succeed in having a strategic strategy like this. There's some nations that this would very strongly appeal to them. They could take something back to them. It's just a thought. If this is something that could be of interest, something
it needs to have the commitments of the top two. I'll give you an example, even not just in countries, even in companies. When I was doing once, I remember my internship in college. I was doing it to the home. I was doing it with Unilever, one company. And I was doing it specifically at Jabal Ali, in Dubai at that time, and at Lipton Tea. So it's all about having commitment. We're so lucky actually that we have commitment at the top of the pyramid. The rest team on the top of the pyramid are actually committed to it. Hence, that's why we're lucky in being able to actually execute these strategies moving well. As you can see, it's not even making it easier for us. I mean, the initiative between 2060 down 2050, that's huge. 10 years is a lot, you know? But I'm telling you, this is one thing. Another thing to make it even crazier, in NEOM, there are 3 projects, some projects that they call them in NEOM. One of them is the Line, which is the latest one. One of them is Octagon. It's actually more as a warehouse area, logistic area on the sea, but in a standard that is friendly to the environment. And the third one, which is the craziest one, Trojena. And that's going to be on mountains at the area of NEOM. Now, how crazy is that? One is showing you that we'll have to make it. It's not a choice, it's a must.
December 13th, 14th, and 15th, the White House in DC is hosting an all-African leader event. It's after the UN. I've been asked to speak at this particular event. In thinking through this, maybe there's a way after the event's over so it doesn't coincide with those 3 days. If some African nations would, if there's an interest, maybe the Saudi embassy could host some of those nations to talk about how you develop and succeed in having a strategic strategy like this. There are some nations that this would very strongly appeal to them. They could take some of these back to them. It's just a thought. If this is something that could be of interest, it's something we can discuss.
I would say actually the best way to do it, instead of going there, is remember they have their embassies here, a lot of African nations. Let's start with like all the low-hanging fruits. African nations actually here, their embassies, pay us a visit to understand more about the transformation that's taking place in Saudi, see exactly what we are doing. You could have actually our team, the National Investment Strategy, have ideas, and from that actually, it's going to be step by step, baby steps. But the most important thing, no matter how many strategies you make, if there is no real commitment on top of the pyramid, it won't take much. I have seen it a lot.
About MISA and what's going on. So basically we are working in the agriculture, so in the the leadership of the business development. So basically we are the engine, the kitchen of this well-established organization. So basically what we are looking at is to develop all sectors across one umbrella, which is we have the agriculture and food processing. So we look at the value chain, across the value chain, where are the gaps, how can we develop the gaps, how can we overcome the issues, through many ways. One way is foreign direct investment. How can best practice can help us as a country. Also through a local who is doing the best of developing themselves and working hard to really overcome the obstacles and the issues, and also how can we also align with the strategies. You see a lot of national targets happening across the kingdom. How can we be part of this success journey? So that's the vision of each sector in the NIMESA, which we have 15 sectors. Food and agriculture is part of this. So we look into that. We look into the journey. How can we, build these bridges between us and the global practice globally in the agriculture from A to Z, all across the value chain. So we're looking at the upstream, from the fertilization, from the soil treatment, from the chemicals. How can we bring the best practice? How can we capitalize on our, native plants, trees that already, make it happen to live in such a harsh environment? How can we look into that and capitalize into that and bring it to the global? We have dates, we have agriculture, we have many abundant resources that we need to unlock and to share to the global. We have, for example, the dates. We have more than 300 types of dates. Each type has its own textures, taste, has its own health, nutritions that we need to explore to people, and it's considered as a superfood. So how can we look into that? Can we do it exactly what have done to the chocolate? Can we bring it to that kind of level? How can we make it into the new era of food when the people stay away from sugar? How can we bring date syrups, date sugars, into our ingredients and food ingredients and dessert and many other things? So we are working in many different areas. In agriculture, we have the long Red Sea. We have more than 160 types of fishes, that needed to be explored to the global. And we have also the land and the infrastructure, the support of the government to unlock all these sectors and to make it happen. With the Green Saudi also, we are looking into that. How can we, bring very strategic plans that could enable us to achieve strategically to the 110 billion trees, in 2050. So that's the plan. And so we are working across all the spectrums in the food and agriculture. How can we capitalize it? We have the coffee, the best coffee in the area. So in Jazan and the mountain area, we have already proven the attraction for these farms, the coffee farms. We have been approached by very leader companies like Nestle, Starbucks. They have already seen, we have visits to the farms. They really have the interest because it has its own unique, and they are planning to do a kind of R&D and innovation centers, academy to look into these farms. How can they capitalize on it? Because they have realized it has its own special, uniqueness compared with its variety of coffees. So that's kind of a type, and then we have the honey, we have many other things. And this is as a farm level. We have on the other side, which is the processing, food processing. We look into all that kind of food processing. We want to be not only serving the local, we go beyond to and capitalize on our geographic location. By going to other continents and serve other continents. And there are a lot of initiatives that needed to be blended in the sectors to grow. And one of these initiatives is halal strategy. How can we look into, because halal is $1.3 trillion size of the market. And how can we look into that and blend it and come up with a very smooth approach? Because some other investors, when they come here, they struggle about looking at halal regulation in many other countries. We're going to standardize halal. There's a lot of movement of the government into halal and unlocking that sector by unifying the practice and so on. I don't want to keep you for long. That's exactly happening across all the sectors. We have 15 sectors: energy, mining, you name it, education, sport, tourism. So we look into that thoroughly, deeply, more strategic, aligned with the national targets. That we could work and cooperate as a foreign and local and government level as well. So that's for me to just give you a heads up about what's going on. But that's going across all sectors. And practice in some other areas. When we come here, we need to the extra mile, and we are working as a one body, the government entities and universities, innovation, R&D centers. We are working together, we align with each other, how can we all work around it, and we have a huge result instead of there and there hard work. But definitely we are looking into it. And you just mentioned about the food as intersecting by tourism and other areas, upstream and downstream, petrochemical, fertilization, how can we capitalize on that? But definitely food is crucial. And nowadays with pandemic and the geopolitical issues that bring more tensions. Everyone is revisiting their strategy, revisiting their supply chain, food, and many other sectors. But definitely we're looking into that.
Briefly, can you expound just a little bit on the statistic in there of the 30% degraded lands? What has caused the degradation? Is it contamination?
Guys, whole sector, the whole team working onto it, and this information is overlap with us, and this is with our colleague. They will give us more into this because that goes into environment, but we will have the answer for it definitely. But definitely we have tapped into that and we have looked into it, and we are working cooperatively with the government entities, and I could cross-validate that figures to you exactly what is happening in the soil. Using the fertilization and chemicals, so the performance of the soil starts to drop. So we are aware of that.
Yes.